So yesterday, one of the main things we were paying attention to, for the ones that were here with us, right? We wanted to see dollar rally above this high, right? We wanted to see us, continue to respect this price action. We were looking at the 30-minute, right? And yesterday when we were here with you guys, we were talking about how the market could return back into this imbalance and continue to expand higher and attack this high, right? So obviously that panned out. And now, the next thing that, that we always talk about is when we take out these, relevant highs, what is the market doing at that high, right? And, that's why I was saying London was very beautiful because it gave a wonderful reversal, right? On the dollar, on a lot of different assets in general. So, if you guys see right when we got above that high, I was paying attention to the 15-minute time frame, and you guys can just see how market structure just started to break down, right? This was our last push up. You can see, you can look at this as a UTAD for your distribution schematic, right? We broke down, and then you can see we started to shift and go lower. So as of right now, I would like to see the dollar respect this area here on the 3-minute. Everything else looks fairly efficient to me. This is the only kind of imbalance that we have. And I like how we're kind of consolidating in here on an intraday basis, right? We got some equal lows forming. We got some equal highs forming. So, maybe we get this, right, to continue lower, right? And this is my thought overall. So, with DXY right now, just like Zach was saying, we obviously can't sit here and be like, oh, okay, this is the top, we're about to do a massive retracement. No, right? As of right now, what I see is the price action that we want to see is starting to print to bring this lower. Is it fully confirmed yet? Obviously, we never want to fully confirm that. But the main thing that I'm going to be looking out for today is seeing how price is going to be closing on a 4-hour time frame as well as on a 1-hour, right? I'm going to be curious to see if we start breaking 1-hour lows, higher lows. So, this low from, for example, yesterday, let me clean this up a little bit, right? So us closing below this low, closing below this low, this can start giving us the signs that maybe this is going to start coming lower, right? So not gonna glue myself to anything just yet, but this is something that we could be watching on a smaller time frame. I would say this is some fairly, decent areas we could be targeting and looking for the market to get into. So we'll see, right? If we run above this high and the market respects this area, then we can obviously see the shift more in continuation on our XXX USD assets, right? But yeah, that's what I'm looking at for the dollar. And based off of this, euro, I know Zach talked about this and talked about the hourly area. So now I can narrow that down a little bit more for you guys as well. So what I was looking at this morning, and literally everything was like the complete opposite of what I just showed you guys on the dollar. So everything gave you a beautiful reaccumulation. So if you guys are up for London, honestly, everything was just right out there. Right. So you guys can see down candle, swept the lows. We got a break to the upside and, we obviously traded up higher. So this was very clean on euro. Right. So where I personally participated this morning, it was our 7 o'clock, move, right? Going into 7:15. Everything in here, and this is what Jordan talks about a lot too, in efficiency. When these bottoms are potentially made, guys, and once again, that's why I say potentially, because we're not sure yet if this is the bottom. Generally you'll see the market very efficient, right? Like all the imbalances are filled, liquidity is swept. It's very clean, efficient order flow, right? And euro is one of those assets where, you can really tweak an entry even on a 1-minute time frame based off of efficiency. So that's what I did personally this morning, right? When I got up, it was around like 6 o'clock. So by the time, I did my stuff and I was looking at the market, the only efficiency that I saw going into our New York Open right? So if you guys have the same sessions add-on, it's the brown areas like New York, but you guys can see here, this was that little bit of inefficiency that we had, right? So that was the area that I was looking at. Now you can see that that same zone that Zach marked up on the hourly, which was that down candle on the hourly here, right? In that same area, right? That's that blue line from the hourly, it's literally just like the dollar, right? We have, some relatively equal lows presenting themselves here, and then we have this imbalance, right? So, obviously if you want to narrow that down, this could be another point of interest you could be looking at, right? But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on euro. So far, it's looking nice. The main thing I'm going to be paying attention to today is for every asset that I'm going to be talking about is how we're going to be closing on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, because that I feel is then going to give us the information we need potentially to play for the rest of the week, right? So pay attention to the 4 hour, see if we're going to be, closing above significant lower highs, because now this could completely alter our structure, right? So euro is one thing. Man, gold, I'm super salty about this personally because I was not up for London, but this was literally what we were looking for yesterday, right? I drew this for you guys, right? This was potentially our secondary, our SC. This was our secondary test, and then are we going to see a spring tomorrow? Yesterday's thought, right? I'm talking in the past tense. Are we going to see that spring tomorrow to clear these lows? And, our sell-off position that we were looking for yesterday was clean. Euro's buy position was clean. Our sell-off position was clean as well. But now, due to the fact that we got that shift in the dollar's price action, you can obviously see this has now shifted these assets as well, right? So gold, really, really textbook. Doesn't really get any better than this, to be honest. But yeah, 30-minute, beautiful down candle. We got to move up, breaking structure. And then, we literally returned back into that prior to 7 kind of rallying. I was looking morning, but I just really didn't want to, take a 70 pip stop. As you guys can see, it's already almost at a 1 to 3. So, it's, you try to go for that smaller stop, better off looking at the R to R, right? That move. But the thing is, and this is what I mean by the 1 hour, 4 hour, to shift its structure a lot more than, something like euro or any Forex pair really at the moment. That's, looking at the 4 hour, I like this structure, right? Especially this 4 hour candle that's going to be closing here in the next 3 hours and 28 minutes, right? Like this. I think it's just a matter of us then now finding our next, because as y'all can see, yesterday's sell, like that's poof, it's gone. Okay. We're about to target, like that first area of upside liquidity that I personally feel we're probably going to slow down here, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like this, or even a closure above this high as well. I'm going to set up for a very interesting, ones that are probably, maybe in this already, salute to y'all. You might maybe have a bottom, but if not, we can reevaluate and see where, price is going to be, moving into tomorrow and whatnot as well. So keep your guys' eye on gold. I do love this 4 hour price action. The fact that we're going out this strong, really giving us a strong confirmation for the stuff we've been looking for. And as well, this is the type of reaction you want to see from a spring. Okay, for the ones that have not seen a spring or monitor a spring before, this is the type of PA you want to see, right? This is the type of price action you want to see right here, right? Down candle, sweeping the lows, and just look at the bullishness after taking out that liquidity. That's a powerful spring right there. All right, so we'll keep our eyes on this, see what's good. The only other thing I was looking at was indices as well. I had the same kind of idea, Zach. I was really looking at all of these same kind of way. So really not much difference in the bias. I just feel if we're gonna seek for liquidity, then we might run this low that's pertained on all of the indices, NASDAQ 30, they all have these. But if not, we could obviously just kind of reaccumulate in off of this 30-minute candle, right? And kind of go from there. So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to. But it's literally the same price action as well. If we look at the indices, right? Market came in, now we're starting to get that break. So maybe, we get that move up. And notice as well, guys, like all of this is, doing this accumulation under its significant lows. I know we have these as a target for a little bit now, right? S&P's low, 30's low, right? NASDAQ's low. Well, I don't think NASDAQ actually ran it. No, it didn't, right? But this is that area where we wanted to, target. So now us seeing that potential accumulation here could be that push up to bring this up higher. But yeah, that was, I think, all that I wanted to mention. Oil was the other thing. I forgot I mentioned this yesterday, but yeah, I was in buys yesterday in here. And obviously we came back. It makes sense though. We did come back to our weekly open. So oil, something else I'm going to be monitoring as well. Once we start to shift price action in here. Now, hopefully this imbalance still in here is open. We get a more solid closure above this high, and then we look for buys, right? So oil is something else we could be watching as well, right? So I'm going to be paying attention to that. Hourly is looking nice so far, right? So we had this. So now that we closed above here on the hourly, like I would like to see a 4-hour close as well. That would be more nice for added confluence. But yeah, if we get that closure above as well, and it's like the same thing. Oil came into our shorter term macro target, which was $80. So now expecting a little bit of a bounce, I think is ideal, right? Spot on that sell from the top here. I know a lot of us were calling that. So now it's like, okay, maybe we see a little bit of recovery. But yeah, for a lot of these, and I just want to mention one thing as well. For a lot of these assets, for us to see the bounce that we want to see, guys, something else needs to also line up with that. And that's going to be what's going to be happening here in the next couple of weeks to see those bigger moves. And that's going to be us focusing on CPI, right? So, I'll pass this off to John here right after I mention this, but, CPI data is coming out on the 13th, right? So, if our inflation data is lower, I believe it's going to be lower than 8%. And, we then potentially in November as well for the next FOMC, we, instead of seeing a 75 basis point, we end up seeing a 50 basis point. That could mean that we could potentially get a Fed pivot, which means that we could get those moves that we wanted on gold, right? To get that move up higher, right? That would be the pivot we would want to see. So, obviously these are some things we can see on a technical standpoint, but I feel on a fundamental level as well, we would need the numbers to kind of add up with that idea, or the Fed coming out and saying something about them pivoting, right? So that's some other stuff on a fundamental level we would want to see for these shorter term plays that we want to play for the next couple of months here.
A few moments later.
Another one. Another one. Another one.
Finish him!